What's up, guys? DubbleAction here with another tabletop review. Here we go. It's the Kershaw Scallion. Many of you probably have seen the unboxing video that I have on my channel for this knife. I'll annotate it in case you haven't seen it. But man, I love Kershaws. Kershaws are far and away my favorite knife manufacturer. They're high quality, they're solid construction. I've never had a bad experience with a Kershaw, except for, like I said in my blur video, the pocket clip is not great and I lost one because of that. But other than that, I mean, flawless. I love Kershaw knives. Okay, so let's get into the review of this Kershaw Scallion. Its blade length is 2 1/4 inches. The steel is 420 HC, which I am not impressed with, I'll have to say. It's going to be one of my criticisms. It's going to be one criticism of this knife, is the blade steel. That 420 HC is very soft. Within the first couple of days I had it, I bent the tip. I don't know how clearly that's going to come in. Not so clearly. But anyway, if you could see it, if this thing would focus, the very tip of this knife is bent. And that's because, I mean, yeah, I was abusing it, but no worse than I've ever abused any other knife. And this is the first one that couldn't take the heat. And all I was really doing was prying the back off of a wristwatch, like to change the battery. And man, it came off pretty easy, but it was enough to bend this blade. The 420 HC steel is not very good. It's soft, and it doesn't hold an edge that great. I haven't really abused this knife that bad, and I can already see that there's some, you know, it could probably just use a little honing. I mean, it's still sharp. It still will cut very well, but not the greatest blade steel, that 420 HC. But for the price, I mean, you're talking about a $30 knife, so you're not going to get VG10 steel. You know, this is it's a high value. There's nothing fancy we call it. It's a high value knife. About 25, 30 bucks, maybe 35 at the most. The weight, according to the website, is 2.3 ounces. Let's see what my handy dandy inaccurate kitchen scale here says. Coming in right about 2.5 ounces. So yeah, that's pretty close. Maybe this thing must be just a little off, like maybe 0.2 of an ounce or something like that, because the blur was a little off too. But anyway, it's got a anodized aluminum handle with a steel liner lock, ambidextrous thumb stud, and one of my favorite features about this knife is that flipper on the back. That is awesome. I don't use the thumb studs on this. I use the flipper. It's just so convenient. And it seems to work more easily than that. I mean, I think it deploys a little faster when you use the thumb stud, but it's just a lot easier to use the flipper on the back. Awesome design. And that little flipper, once you open up the knife, that little flipper becomes a finger choil under the blade here. And it's got some jimping on there, and there's some jimping back here on the back of the blade, and you can get a pretty decent purchase on it. For as small as that handle is, it doesn't really fill up your palm, but you can still get a pretty good purchase on this knife for any serious cutting tasks. The pocket clip is awesome on this knife. It's very large in comparison to the size of the knife. You know, it almost takes up the whole handle of the knife. It's huge. So I mean, it makes contact, you know, probably about from here down. So I mean, it's not going to fall out of your pocket. It buries fairly deep. About that much of it sticks up out of your pocket, which is a lot better than the blur, where that much of it sticks up out of your pocket. So it's not likely to get caught on anything and get yanked out. The aluminum handle, like I said, it's got a safety lock down here. It's basically just a screw, and it moves this little thing back and forth, which blocks the blade from opening, so you don't have an accidental accidental discharge in your pocket. Not a problem. I've never had this thing open up in my pocket. As a matter of fact, what I did was I took and tightened this up so it can't be moved. I made it inoperable, because what I found was every now and then it would, I don't know, just the way it got jostled around in your pocket or whatever, it would lock, and then when you go to pull this thing out of your pocket and try to open it up, it doesn't open, and it's frustrating. So I just immobilized that lock. So it's, I mean, I could loosen it up and it'll work again, but I don't like it. So I just made it inoperable. Yeah, not a bad knife. EDC, perfect for EDC. I would say this is probably the perfect size knife for just an EDC blade. Anything bigger than this, I think, is excessive. Depending on you, depending on your preference. Everybody's different. Knives are like, you know, different strokes for different folks. It's whatever you like, whatever works for you. As far as I'm concerned, this is a perfect size for an EDC blade. It's not going to freak the sheeple out when you pull this thing out. You know, it's just a little knife, and you know, rather than when you pull out this, you know, great big knife, and there's people around that aren't, you know, just aren't accustomed to seeing people with great big knives in their pocket. It might scare some people, but you know, this one's pretty small. It's modest. It's not going to scare anybody away. The only thing that might scare people is the assisted opening. They might say, "Oh, he's got a switchblade," but whatever. It's not a switchblade. So there you have it. That's my review of the Kershaw Scallion. Thanks for watching. Take care now.